that time of week once more for Muji and Dan to give you the comic store. It's time to open up those bags and boards, fans. Welcome to Get Your Pulls.
Welcome to Get Your Pulls, episode 108, aka episode 10 shit.
10 shit.
Yes, it's Mooj. We got the full crew here. We get the Mooj. That's me.
And Dan.
And Todd.
And the intern.
Fantastic Four strong.
Yes, possibly more fantastic than the Fantastic Four, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We're back. Last time we did the Dragon Con review.
Heroes Con. Actually.
Heroes Con. Yeah, Dragon's Con. Yeah, that's not happened yet.
That's coming up. That's next month.
That'll be another review.
And we'll have a review on that
We'll
one
have
too.
a review.
Because I'll be there. But
Yeah, we did the Heroes Con review, and that was cool. We barely talked about Comic Con. We talked about a few things because it was just inevitable, but we'll do a little bit of Comic Con talk this week. The big things we really talk about was we didn't talk much about the comic announcements type things that they did there. They announced a bunch of crazy things that we waited on, such as Grant Morrison. They're apparently just like, hey, why don't you just make whatever comics you want and we'll publish them? And he was like, okay. So Multiversity 2, it's coming back, and this time it's not just him. They're going to take a bunch of the worlds established in Multiversity and divvy them out to different writers and artists. So it's going to have like its own, like a ton of Multiversity miniseries by different people.
Which I'm psyched about.
I know.
And also, this is during a period where he is self-proclaimed done with American superheroes. But it's like, but I'm still going to do all this other stuff, and we got Earth 2 Superwoman, or Wonder Woman coming out. So it's like, what? You're not really done.
Yeah,
he's crazy guy.
Yeah, he's doing the Earth 1 Wonder Woman, which apparently is going to be very, very, very much like what everyone thinks the original creators of Wonder Woman had in mind when the first few issues were. He's going to take the next level.
Back to the bondage and all the weird sexual undertones.
Because I saw
that's cool.
My kind of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I saw he was a little bit critical of the Wonder Woman and the Batman vs. Superman trailer because he was like, oh, this is her. And it's like, dude, that Wonder Woman's not going to be in a movie, bro. Like, she's not going to be like that. But he's got that going on. And then he's doing his own Batman Black and White series.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, so it's essentially he's just going to be doing one-off Batman stories with whatever artists that he works with.
So this is what happens when he's done. It's like scary. Like, what
he's just
when he shuts it back on, what happens?
He's just not writing any in-continuity current DC Universe stories. That's his done. Yeah. That's basically it.
That is the new DC push, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently.
DCU, like Grant Morrison, you do whatever you like. We'll publish it because we like money.
And not to bury the lead here, but the perhaps bigger Grant Morrison news is he is now editor-in-chief of Heavy Metal magazine.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know Heavy Metal was still around.
Exactly. It was a great reminder that it exists.
It really was. It's like that made me want to go pick it up. I remember as a kid, that was just like, it was the thing you could kind of get away with reading in the bookstore because it had tits in it, but it wasn't porn. It was still on the top racks, but every once in a while you'd find one that's out of the bag, and you're like, I'm just looking at this comic magazine that has tit ass.
No teenage boners here, gentlemen.
Major boobage.
Yeah. So he seems super busy because he's got like 80 other like independent series coming out at some point with different companies. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, other things that were announced.
There's so many things, it's hard to pick. Just
the
highlights.
Just comics wise, I mean, I don't think Marvel was really kind of lacking. I mean, they're going to do more books. I mean, that's basically it.
It's kind of mostly older news, but
not a lot of new Marvel news there. It was actually DC pretty much dominated the con with the Batman, Superman, and Suicide Squad trailers. Outside of the Deadpool trailer, that was really like the big like comic themed things that happened there. Which, speaking of Deadpool, we saw the Red Band trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah, it looks very entertaining. Like, it's almost a guarantee that, like, who knows if it's going to be like a good film, but you're going to have a great time. And if it's a good film, that's a bonus. But it's going to be Deadpool fucking around being Deadpool, and I'm totally down with that.
It almost seems like a risk for Fox to do that because they're taking the actor who portrayed him in the worst X-Men movie ever,
Oh, yeah.
and making their own film base. But it's kind of like them admitting, okay, we fucked up. Here, let's do it right this time. It seems like they're doing that.
Maybe Ryan Reynolds was like, please just give me another chance.
And
Please.
it's a huge retcon.
Yeah, and with the Green Lantern jokes already even in the trailer, I'm sure there's going to be a joke in there somewhere about a shitty Deadpool with his mouth sewn shut and everybody else's powers, you know. I'm sure that's going to happen.
One of my favorite parts. My favorite parts of the trailer, and this also really makes me like gets me pumped for Fox and how it's cool that they treated him this way. Like apparently Liefeld decided I want to come see the set, so he drove himself up, and they're like, okay, cool, yeah, you can come. And then he was there, and Ryan Reynolds is like, oh shit, you created this. He's like, okay, we got to get you in here. So they filmed a scene for it, and it made the trailer.
That's bad.
He's walking by, and he goes, fucking Liefeld, and just keeps walking. It's great. It's great. I like that they did that. So yeah, I mean, really excited for that. That's another one to look forward to. See, other Comic-Con stuff, man. I mean, they had an Image Expo like a week before Comic-Con.
Yeah, like they had all their big announcements.
They announced a bunch of books.
A lot of big books.
I think we touched on that a little bit before. Like, there's some cool stuff, but then a lot of it now, it's like, I mean, I guess it's good because more people are working for Image is the plus.
Yeah.
The less is it's not as exciting. Like, but the first couple of expos, it was like all like A-name creators, like these all-star creative teams. And now a lot of the books just kind of, it's hard to distinguish a lot of the books from the other ones.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch that are just, people are going to space and things happen.
Other titles is like, oh, well, let's just swap the creators around with the pool we have.
And lots of creators that like I've never heard of and stuff like that. So it's like, which I mean is good. I mean, you get some of those. That's some of the best books or ones you don't know of, but it's not really that. It's not really that excitement. I mean, we definitely talked about this before, but you have Jason Aaron and RM Guerrero teaming back up for the goddamn, and that's like a oh shit, announcement. But then a lot of the other stuff, which is not that impressive.
Kind of have to pick and choose.
Yeah,
there's something for everybody though. That's the good thing about it.
Yeah, that's very true.
The Killing Joke is getting made into an animated movie.
That is great. Everybody get their pitchforks ready. Yeah, but it's finally happening. I don't think they've confirmed it yet, but rumor is Mark Hamill's in for the Joker.
Yeah. Mark Hamill is confirmed. Kevin Conroy is tentative for Batman. They finally came out and confirmed Mark Hamill.
Tentative/confirmed.
Yeah.
100% confirmed.
Yeah. On a previous Smodcast episode, I remember Mark Hamill saying that that's the thing he would be down to play the Joker again for. He would come back if it's for the Killing Joke. And I assume they're going to do it really close to the comic. I'm sure that they really don't, on most of these adaptations in the past, they don't stray a lot. So I'm sure there's going to be some things that happen.
It should be pretty crazy.
Yeah. There's probably going to be in the new kind of PC world we live in, especially when it comes to comics.
I wonder if they'll pull any punches,
We'll have to wait and see, because, I mean, that's really where most of the heat is gotten by how awful the Joker is. I mean, let's, crazy. Let's, have someone do something terrible in a book to make you want to see them pay.
Yeah.
Sorry if that's too real for you.
And like another thing that kills me about the whole outrage against the scene where he shoots Barbara Gordon and that whole story is that those same motherfuckers were the ones that pitched a bitch fit when Oracle got retconned to be Batgirl again. Because they loved Oracle because she was such a great representative of the disabled, and none of that's wrong. That's absolutely true. She was. But you know how she got disabled? Because the Joker fucking shot her in the Killing Joke.
You can't have it both ways.
So
absolutely, yeah. So, but yeah, that's awesome news. I mean, the big, huge Batman news is that the Batman movie could be coming a lot quicker than everybody thought. Before when DC and Warner's put out their slate of movies, you're like, okay, well, obviously what's missing here is the Batman movie. And then, they've, it's happening a lot quicker. And those trailers, too, I know you weren't here to talk about last week, but I mean, that's fucking Batman in that trailer. Like when Bruce Wayne starts running towards that building collapse, and you're like, oh, fuck, it's Batman.
Yeah, and the costume doesn't necessarily make Batman. It's just you can still tell him. But the costume is the most Batman costume they've had in film yet.
Oh yeah, it looks great. Affleck looks great. A couple toy things, something I saw at Comic-Con and got motherfuckers. Batman 66, Mattel, one of the biggest ball drops ever as a toy collector. They got this license, and they really were counting on people to be pumped for it, so they jacked up the cost. The figures are great, but they're simple. I mean, they're just, the plastic rubber figures. Like, they don't have, like, accessories. Like, now we're in a day of age where we have, like, Star Wars figures cost $20, and
you got the hot toys out there that look exactly like their source
and
material.
And even the most simple figures, like and it's weird because Mattel also makes WWE figures. You get WWE figures that come with their belts and their shirts come off, and they have like changes of wardrobe. That's $20. Well, these Batman figures were great, but just very simple. They charged too much. A bunch of them, people bought Batman, the Joker. The other one's kind of like hung on the shelf forever. And while there's a couple other companies that have gotten as far as to where they're making everyone, and a couple of other series. Like there's this one company that does like old Migos looking Batman figures, and they just announced like their new lineup, and like fucking Shame is in it. They're making like everyone for Batman ever, and then we got just the main ones. We got Batman and Robin. We got the Joker. We got the Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman.
Sweet.
That was it. Well, finally, after 2 years, they showed this 2 years at Comic-Con ago, they released a Yvonne Craig Batgirl figure.
Oh, nice.
So finally got that, which is awesome. And they made a Bruce Wayne Batcave set where there's a little backdrop and stuff. It comes with the Bat computer. But then a bunch of the cool stuff in Wayne Manor. It comes with the book, the statue that he uses to get down to the Batcave. It comes with
like Shakespeare.
Yeah, it comes with the giant red phone, like a bunch of like stupid accessories, but it's badass.
Is fucking Aunt Harriet roaming around in there?
I wish.
I get to make you.
I would love. I wanted this line to get so deep that an Aunt Harriet came out. I would have bought it, but they kind of fucked up. But at least they finally put out the remaining couple of things. So.
And we gotta get the Penguin in alternate costume as Commodore Schmidlap.
Exactly.
That would be excellent.
I wanted everybody.
Yes.
With his missing fingerprints.
Yes, I wanted absolutely every one of those, but it's apparently over. They haven't said for sure it's over, but it seems like it's over for those. But glad that we finally got the last couple. We got the background stuff. Like they're great collectibles. And then Mezco showed. I think I mentioned this last time, but they're the awesome Dark Knight Returns action figure that we brought and looked in here.
Oh yeah, it looks pretty great.
They expanded the line, so they're making a Superman and a Flash. They're coming out in the next year.
Nice.
So really excited about that too.
So the Flash 2 will be what version of the Flash?
It was like an early prototype. I mean, it's Barry Allen, I believe, but I don't know particularly what it's from. They said all of these would be from famous stories that they released, so I don't know for sure yet because it's not. It said it wasn't finished, and I believe the Superman's coming out in fall, but then the Flash is next year, so
it's pretty sweet.
But they were really awesome looking. And then DC Collectibles kind of knocked it out of the park. With the next set of Capullo designer figures, he's finally doing like a proper designer series Joker.
Oh, sweet.
So that's awesome. And then his Wonder Woman, he did a couple like Justice League people from where they've crossed over. So he's kind of expanded out of just the Batman people. So
that's cool.
If you are a grown man that still loves toys like Muji, that's a bunch of good stuff.
Well, we all love toys.
Yeah, but I guess that's it. That's it for the Comic-Con stuff we didn't touch on last week. Let's see, a couple of other cool announcements I saw. Civil War, if you're pumped up for the Civil War movie, well, Marvel just released the Civil War trade paperbacks are like really hard to get. And if you have those, now would be the proper time to sell. Like there's a couple of them that are really hard that people are selling for like $100 online.
Holy crap.
But Marvel's putting together like a full set. You can buy them individually or you can buy a box set of every Civil War tie-in.
They have always been kind of sought after. Like
you
see them every now and then, like at the resale shops and stuff, but like never all of them.
Yeah, they're re-releasing a hardcover and softcover set, and then I think you can buy Civil War singularly, in hardcover or softcover, but then all the tie-ins individually. So if you want to get just really nerded out on that before the movie, then those are coming in a couple months. So that's pretty exciting. And then there's just a shitload of good comics coming out. Man, DC started getting in on the Omnibus game. They're putting Lemire's collected Green Arrow all in one book, Snyder's Swamp Thing all in one book, Manapul Bucceletto's Flash all in one book. So you should get a second job so you can buy comics.
Yeah, really. Yeah, good episode.
Seems like sometimes.
Yeah. Then we got some movie stuff. You guys all saw Ant-Man.
Yes.
Yes.
Feel free to spoil because I've been on Twitter, so it's already been spoiled.
It's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I like this.
Excellent film. Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see why it didn't make a lot of money compared to some of the other Marvel movies. It did okay. I think it did about what we predicted, like early Thor and Cap 1 numbers around about.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, they can't expect every movie to be Avengers at the box office, and if they got to take some risks to get some of these new characters out into the limelight. And it was just a fun, like, weird sci-fi comedy. It was definitely a Marvel movie, but it was a little on the strange side for Marvel, and I like that. I kind of hope we see more of that vibe in Doctor Strange, which kind of separated the movie from the rest of it. Like, of course, the fucking him finding the Avengers secret base on accident was one of the fucking best parts.
I know that was probably redone. Like, the original script was by
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. I think that was one of the things he didn't want to put in his movie, but it turned out to be one of the most iconic scenes in the whole thing.
Oh yeah, the fight he had with the
Marvel made
Falcon there was so badass. Like, it really was a wonderful display of, like, what Ant-Man can do.
Yes.
And you got to see right there go toe to toe with an Avenger. Evangeline Lilly was amazing. I thought she was a really great female counterpart, and very cool story with her, how they played her out. Because you wonder, okay, they're tying the whole Ant-Man mythos kind of into one movie. So you have Hank Pym, like the whole mystery of the movie is what happened to Janet Van Dyne. Of course, you find out that it's his daughter Hope's mother, which was, if you're a comics fan, you would have assumed that anyway. But of course, they get the big reveal, and you of course later know she's going to be the new Wasp, and that's one of the post-credit teasers. You get to see her costume, and fucking, of course, the big post-credit teaser going into Civil War, which was pretty fucking awesome. We had, of course, the return of the Winter Soldier, which was many people were excited to see. So.
The villain had a little bit of Iron Man syndrome, where it was just like evil Ant-Man. You knew he was going to get the evil Ant-Man suit, but that was almost like not really central to the storyline. It was more about
it was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. Like, it's become a Marvel trope now, though, for sure. That, like, the villain is
the evil version of the hero. Yeah.
But it was cool to introduce the yellow jacket costume and everything. So, like, listen, they tied the whole Ant-Man mythos, like, into one nice little movie. Like, for all the years of comics, they kind of crafted it all into one little story and played service to all of it, and that was very cool.
It was a nice contrast, because, like, the yellow jacket suit was armed and had lasers and shit, but the Ant-Man suit, he was more heroic. He didn't have any weapons. He just had to use his fists. I mean, he had the little discs that could enlarge or shrink things, which was badass. It made for some great comedic moments.
Hey, it was educational, too, because we learned about all the different types of ants as well. I didn't know I was going to get, like, a little tutorial.
I popped huge for the reference to the microverse, because that's actually a storyline in the comics. Like, Wasp got lost in the microverse for years, and fucking here it is right there in the movie, And so, like, of course, the big mystery was, because at the end he has to go into the microverse to beat the fucking villain.
Where's Janet?
And it's like, well, if he can go there and come back, then she's still got to be there somewhere, And so clearly the Wasp is out there. The original Wasp is out there.
Setting up some future storylines for Avengers or Ant-Man 2 or whatever they want to do. It's nice.
Yeah, it was delightful. Critics might not have loved it, and the box office might not have blown it away, but if you were a comic fan, like, it was made for you. And I really felt it was one of those movies that Marvel was really just kind of like, okay, we're going to throw you one for the hardcores here.
And it had some of the best de-aging special effects, I think, when they showed Michael Douglas early in the movie.
Oh, yeah, in the 80s.
It was just like they filmed a scene like 20, 30 years ago when he was younger. It was amazing. Like, I found myself, like, really studying it to see if I could tell if it was a special effect or not. Of course it was, but it just looked flawless.
That's some great fucking comedy, like when the fucking Thomas the Train got in large and fucking busts through the goddamn wall, and then like just the fucking like ridiculous slapstick scene, which made me fucking spit my coke out my nose. It's like the fucking Thomas the Train's just laying there all wonky eyed coming through the fucking side of the house, and then he also fucking shot one of the ants with the elongated eye, so this like fucking 20-foot tall ant fucking just comes scurrying by like super fast. It was like a stupid 30-second shot, but it was probably my favorite thing in the whole movie.
Great. And Paul Rudd just nailed it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
perfect casting.
Well, his little cast of, subordinates that he had as well was like really good.
I thought they'd be annoying like earlier on in the movie, but then I just really loved them.
Oh, his criminal buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ant-Man gets a very high rating for me. Definitely go see it if you were on the fence about it. But I guess we can move on to a movie a lot of people are on the fence about that comes out as we record this tonight.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Fantastic Four. I don't know, man. Part of me thinks I'm really going to like it, but I'm going to be like, it's not really the Fantastic Four, but it's cool.
Yeah.
That's what I keep getting from this. Even though I've heard some pretty good things, like most of the negative reviews are like, the characters are good, the movie looked good, I just hated it. And it's like...
It was in capable hands.
Yeah, like... I think, I don't know. Like, I think maybe, because I thought it looked dumb, and every interview that anyone did the whole time about it makes you think that it's going to be a stupid movie. And I mean, they've changed the origin, apparently, spoilers, just from the reviews that I've read, the little tidbits, they changed that. Apparently, they don't ever call themselves the Fantastic Four. They do like a, what you think would be like a, late 90s type thing at the end where they're sitting around, they're like, what are we? It's like, well, there's four of us, we're fantastic. They never call each other their nicknames, they just kind of give their little, they do that as well, like a chuckle, like, you're fantastic, you're blah, 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 blah. So
maybe this is the end of that era of just not calling things what it is.
Well, it's just really weird because of Marvel. I mean, this whole empire they have has been based on the fact that they've just totally embraced the comics.
Comic accuracy.
Exactly. And so, I don't like that, but then I heard, that, the characters are the characters and that they're good and their relationships are good. There was a bunch of weird stuff, the way they get their powers is like Doom, his stuff gets melted to himself, and there's some weird stuff that I don't know that I'm super pumped about.
The pictures of Doom I've seen look like dog shit.
Yeah,
they really pissed me off, and I'm really trying to get in the mind frame that I want to like this movie. But I listened to the Josh Trank interview on Fat Man on Batman, and he came off way better than he did in any of the press stuff. He came off well. Made me want to see the movie.
The Thing and Human Torch both look cool in action in the trailers I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm really on the
fence.
thing. I'm going to see it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I hated it, and I wouldn't be surprised if I loved it. I just don't know.
Well, also another thing, there's a ton of reshoots. The word is coming out now that at the last second they did a fuck ton of reshoots because of the bitching online about the shit. Because Dr. Doom's name wasn't even going to be Victor Von Doom. It was going to be Victor Von Domasev or some shit like that.
He had a wacky name.
And because of the outrage on that, they went back and reshot all of that and changed his name to Victor Von Doom. And they also, the whole ending was reshot, apparently. And so, but apparently people say the ending was reshot to play service to what people were bitching about. And it kind of fucked up the movie.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Really
almost all the reviews are saying the first two acts are this great sci-fi movie. And then the last act, it falters because it tries to be a comic book movie.
Try to jank it in another direction.
If you piecemeal things together, it's easy for things to go horribly awry.
I mean, I think with the director, if the movie ends up not being great, obviously they've changed a lot of it. But if it does end up being the Fantastic Four, it's I don't blame the director or who wrote it because they let them do it, but you blame just the studio for not having the vision. Getting comic booky is what matters, and it's weird too because I know they took a lot of it from Ultimates, so the young version of the Fantastic Four. So
that's all the things when you really think about it.
And Mark Millar, he was or Mark Miller, he's an advisor on it, but it's it's weird because it's Fox who is putting Psylocke in the Psylocke outfit and Deadpool in the Deadpool outfit. It's said, fuck it, we're doing this. And then with Fantastic Four, they didn't. So it's very odd. But
yeah, I don't really understand it, especially when the last movies, the last movies were more comic booky than what they're going for here. They were generally panned, but...
Yeah, the first one, I think, unduly so, because for the time, it was pretty fun. Now, it looks dumb. But special effects, everything has come such a long way. But the first one was not a terrible movie.
No, not at all.
I enjoyed both of them.
Yeah, I mean the second one,
they weren't the
Silver
best.
Surfer kind of sucked, but the second one, that's what kind of made the second one not awesome. Yeah.
So
We'll see that. And Psylocke. Yeah, Psylocke in the Psylocke outfit gave me a boner.
Yeah, I knew where you were going with that. I was ready to support that.
Get mad, Internet, but she looks great.
I'm the most excited about that.
She looks just like Psylocke.
Yeah.
It's Psylocke.
Very excited about X-Men Apocalypse in general.
Like that poster, they put out a new poster for that. Or I think it's relatively new.
Yeah, like the Entertainment Weekly cover where it showed them all.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of backlash against Apocalypse and the way he looks. Here's my opinion on that real quick before we move on to the polls.
Yeah.
People saying he looks like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers.
He did in one picture a little bit.
And you gotta get, like...
Give him a chance.
Granted, they could have done a better job with the face of the actor. They could have...
Yeah.
He's just a blue-faced dude. Like they could have done... yes, he's gotta have the lips and the mouth lines. And
he's short.
And he's a midget. Like...
Yeah.
But the outfit itself is pretty spot on. Like that's what the people aren't seeming to give any credit to. And he can like shift his mass and stuff. So I'm sure he'll fucking.
There'll be some CGI magic in there somewhere.
Yeah.
There better be.
And his performance, I think, will make or break that version. Of the character. So maybe he'll elevate it.
And I'm really excited for that movie, and especially for what's next, because that being a great story. And they've decided, they've kind of done the years. They did the 60s and the 70s. This is going to be in the 80s.
The 80s.
90s, you would think, is up next. And 90s might mean all spandex, all Jim Lee. Like, that's my hope, is that they just go Jim Lee X-Men. Like, they're in the cartoon outfits.
Oh, that would be the shit.
It would be totally great. They already got Gambit keyed up, so go for it.
All right, sweet. Well, we'll talk about some pulls. Start out, had a bunch of books. First thing I'll talk about is actually a graphic novel.
Sweet.
It's High Crimes, this cool graphic novel by Christopher Stabella and Ibrahim Mustafa. It is a spoiler. There's a crime, and it's high. So the basic premise of the book are there are these two people. There's this guy who's been doing this for a long time, and he has a girl who's kind of hiding out as an apprentice. What they do is they climb Everest, and they find dead bodies, because every year tons of people die trying to climb Everest. So what they do is they go up, they'll find the body, they cut the hand off, they go print it, find out who it is, and then they contact their families and tell them, well, for a fee, we'll retrieve the body and send it back to you. So that's like their business.
So this is literally high crimes, like elevation wise.
Exactly.
High crimes.
Like, it's hard to breathe and it's cold and there's crimes.
Nice.
And then, of course, inevitably, they grab the hand of someone they shouldn't have. There's a former secret agent that's been off the map for years. They find his hand, make a call, they send it to their guy, he runs it through the system, and as soon as he runs the fingerprints through the system, boom, alert at the agency, so they send a task force of highly trained killers to come and retrieve the body and kill anybody that knows about him. So that's it. And then it's just really good. As cool as that sounds, it's really just mostly like a really good character story. The main character in the book is a girl who was like a professional skier, and then she was in the Olympics and got caught for PEDs. So she intentionally got injured so that she could disappear from everybody. And she's one of the people that brings the bodies down. But it's really awesome. The art's really good. The story's really good. It's a really, really great book. It was originally a Monkey Brain comic, the digital-only platform, who decided they wanted to make a few dollars and printed it. They made a deal with Dark Horse. Figure out you print books, more people buy them. Crazy.
Who would have thought?
But they're making digital money, so it's okay.
Yeah.
That's true. They are.
Because that exists.
Yes, exactly. But that's that. Two things we'll hit on real quick. Daredevil, issue 17, the penultimate chapter. It's really good. Only one left with Wade and Samney. Maybe Samney will do Archie. No, apparently big rumor was that
Samney would be great.
Wade, I think they said Wade and Samney, though, have a secret Marvel project yet to be announced that they're about to announce in the next few weeks. It's going to be their next thing at Marvel. So
Daredevil, volume 18.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully it'll be something cool, and I'll pick it up because they're a really awesome team together.
It'll be Daredevil joining Alcoholics Anonymous. It'll be called The Man Without Beer.
The Man Without Beer. Oh my God.
Man Without Beer, who's now full of fear. Coincidence? No. Martian Manhunter #2 is a surprise DC relaunch hit. It's been pretty cool so far. I don't know if it's a hit people are buying it, but it's like a hit in my brain because it's cool.
Yeah, #1 was awesome.
What's the character I want something cool to happen with?
Yeah, he's one of Dan's favorite DC people, stuff. And they just put him in some books that didn't really matter. He was in whatever the fuck.
Stormwatch.
Yeah, Stormwatch.
Stormwatch.
And nobody outside of the original run of Stormwatch, it's like nobody ever buys that.
Yeah,
nobody
it's just
cares.
they had a glory period,
and it's over.
Authority, and
it's like the Legion of Superheroes. It's done.
They tried to bring it back so many times. I have so many #1s of Authority and Stormwatch.
Yeah,
there's only that one period that's good.
It's not going to happen. But so they did just a regular Martian Manhunter book, and it's pretty cool. They gave him a bunch of new powers and stuff, and he looks all crazy in certain parts of it. It's really good.
He was already pretty loaded with power.
Yeah, well, he does some crazy things in these couple issues here. So nice. It's been really good. Let's see. Last couple, Airboy. Yeah, issue 2 had some offensive things in it. Issue 3 has more offensive things, and they're hilarious. I'll move on. Probably not as bad as issue 2. I feel like issue 3, the offense just comes in being like some potty humor that maybe it's not your thing, but if anything in this book...
Potty humor, you say?
Dun, dun, dun. And Getchyapulls. No. And so, it's good, though. I feel like this one doesn't really have... I mean, if it's offensive to you, then you're not... We couldn't be friends. Lazarus is good. I'll get to my last couple. Archie versus Sharknado. It's pretty dumb, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Archie
Sharknado's come, and Archie and friends have to stop it. That explains it all.
The crossover train keeps rolling in the Archieverse, and I like where it's going.
Yeah,
we've had Archie and Kiss. We've had Archie meets zombies. We've had
Archie versus Punisher.
Archie versus
Predator.
I've really tried to finish.
So many good things.
I really tried to finish it, but I couldn't get it here. Yeah, the Afterlife with Archie is amazing. I read like the first 3 issues.
Yeah, I gotta get into that.
Yeah, Jughead's dog dies, and so Sabrina, he's so sad over it that Sabrina the Teenage Witch brings it back to life, but it comes back to life as this crazy, like, demonic, like, dog who's spreading, like, the zombie disease. So it bites Jughead, and Jughead starts biting other people. Next thing you know, like, half the people in Riverdale are zombies.
Yeah.
And they're all holed up in like a mansion. At the point that I'm at, they're all holed up in Betty or Veronica? Who's the rich one?
Veronica.
At Veronica's dad's house, they're all of the survivors are like holed up there, like trying to plot a plan of what they're going to do. And then Archie, of course, is got to try to be the hero as he is in these things. And it's like, my parents are out there. I'm going out. It's a bad idea. But I've only read about half of it. But it's great so far.
Yeah.
And Francisco Francavilla does the art in it, so it looks amazing. Really amazing. So it's great.
He's usually just a cover guy.
Yeah, and I think maybe now he's just doing the covers for like the issues. I think maybe there's a new artist on it, but for this first volume, it's him. It's badass. And I definitely did not. I got that. I got Archie #1 that I know you're going to talk about later.
Yes.
I bought 3 Archie comics in the past 2 weeks, and I did not think that. I don't think I bought that many as a kid. Like,
that's
I never
They're
gave a
doing
shit
some
about
good
Archie.
stuff here.
Yeah, and Chip Zdarsky's going to write a Jughead book. I'm like, I probably need to read that. That sounds so stupid that it's got to be entertaining. I get to my last couple. Really close to pick of the week was Nailbiter #15. It's really badass. Remember last week, where we left off, they were down in the caves, and the big, giant, awesome guy with the bullhead, one of the killers in town, shows up, and so he and the Nailbiter have a fight.
Oh, man, awesome.
And it's awesome. And, so that's really cool. And then the end, ends on a crazy cliffhanger. They won't tell you, but then they do, an old-fashioned just...
Oh, nice.
I love it.
I thought it was a good touch. Cool. It's really good. It makes me want to read more of Joshua Williamson's stuff. I know he has Birthright, which I've heard is kind of cool. And he has one called Ghosted, which has been described as like Ocean's 11 and a haunted house. I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. But maybe I'll give those a try eventually when we get some sweet deluxe hardcovers come out. But you know how I like those. That's how I like to stay broke. And pick of the week, man, Outcast, number 11. Already up to number 11. What is lacking in horror movies, as we speak, is really being picked up in some of these horror comics because they are great. Outcast number 11 is no exception. We've got the cool Reverend in Outcast comes face to face with the evil Reverend guy. So they have a cool scene together there. That's awesome. There's like a really good thing where and pardon me for not remembering. I read too many comics to remember all the characters' names.
You don't got to tell us.
I just can't do it.
We know.
Especially the indie comics when it's not like iconic, like canon characters that you've known for years. You really have to.
Yeah. Like it took me like 20 issues of Saga to like remember like the protagonist's names in there. So, but yeah, here we get the two guys come together, and there's like a really awesome scene where the good Reverend says that he's not afraid of the bad, evil, demonic guy who's got a demon inside of him because he's got God on his side. He says he's not scared, and the other guy says he is scared. And then he says, I'm not scared because I have the Lord watching over me, and then the bad guy touches him on the shoulder. He's like, maybe, and walks off. That was some like chilling stuff there. So it's really good, and a bunch of other really cool stuff happens. I won't spoil, but it's a really badass issue. And Kirkman has done it again. Another classic, the Kirkman thing. You would have thought somebody would have jumped on this idea because he for years explained, he's like, I always wanted to know what happened after, Walking Dead, all these cool old movies. It was like when you watch a cool horror movie, I just wanted to know like what happened after like the initial attack, like what happened to the world. He wrote it. I mean, this is the Outcast. It's like what happens after the Exorcist when they get the first demon out and they're like, oh, there's other people with demons in them. What are we going to do? Well, here it is, and it's another awesome-ass book that you, like, punch yourself in the goob because you're like, we should have came up with that.
Yeah, it's so good. I really love Outcast. Like, it's so eerie, and, like, the art's so good, and just the way, like, the pacing and the character development is fucking amazing. Like the last issue where he sneaks back into his wife's house, and you can start to get a little more pieces of that story. Like, where he's like technically not supposed to be there. We find out that he like freaked out on them and tried to kill his daughter and kill her, and like.
Yeah, he's got like a big, like one of the big storylines. In here, he's still there at the house, so that happens. One of the big things in it is that you get more pieces of that story. Like one of his big issues is that if you haven't read it, the general deal is that the Outcast, who's the star of the book, he's able to tell when somebody has demonic possession, and when he touches them, they kind of freak out. And he's just now figuring out that it's like a bunch of people. He thought it was like kind of like a one-off thing, but now he's going around. His name's Kyle. I remember that. Yes. Kyle is the Outcast. Yeah. He's going around with his old Reverend buddy, and now he's like finally got Kyle back in the game. He's like, we need to like do this, and we need to like take go after people and get the evil spirits out. And then you figure out like he's not allowed to see his wife and daughter because he like beat them up, but it looks more like that, or he beat up but it looks more like he was just trying to like cast out an evil spirit, and that's why it happened. But of course, nobody believes that shit. So he's can't see his family, and that's like one of his inner turmoil things. And then the story keeps getting bigger because you keep finding out there's more and more demons. And you got like some of the last couple of issues, some of the stuff where like you find out the demons are just inhabiting bodies, and they're like, if they cast me out, like I have to, they don't want to be cast out because like they have to go away for a while until they find a suitable person. So he really pisses them off. But it's really good.
Yes, high recommendations on that one. What you got, Todd?
On to me. I'll start. Got a big stack here. I'll just touch on a few of these real quick. Powers number 4. It comes out very sporadically. I think it's bi-monthly now. But I'm glad Bendis is sticking with it in lieu of his other big name books. It seems like this is the comic he just curses a lot in, and it's kind of funny because A lot of the dialogue is very natural, but like all of a sudden, it just seems like everybody's cussing non-fucking stop. Like in the last maybe 6 pages, there's 23 occurrences of the F word, which I counted because it was ridiculous at one point. But the storyline's doing really good. They found this dealer who apparently is licensing out these powers that he's just selling to people illegally, of course. In the universe where powers, you're not allowed to have it unless you're registered. It's all government mandated and stuff like that. But he's really still knocked it out of the park. I'm glad he's keeping it. It's like his pet project. But they're keeping it going, if a little bit slower than normal.
Speeders, I'm not gonna do it. I almost pre-canceled my pre-order of Iron Man.
Yeah,
because I found out it's definitely twice a month. But I'm like, okay, whatever. But then he announced that he has an idea. Like Axel Alonso said, there's definitely going to be a spin-off that comes out of it, also written by Bendis.
Yeah,
and I know how that train goes. It's going to just be events with both of his Iron Man books.
Weird.
So I'm going to at least get it to start. But that's like just like that. The minute that it's like, okay, there's a crossover, you have to both buy Iron Man and Friend of Iron Man.
I don't think so.
No.
Hold off on that.
Yeah, I can't have to give Bendis $16 a month to read one story
really.
with 18 rotating artists.
I do get a lot of his books. I gotta draw the line somewhere. We got Spider-Verse number 3. This is among the Secret Wars titles. It actually seems like this will spin into an actual post-Secret Wars book with the Web Warriors. It seems like the main cast of this will be the team in Web Warriors. So it's kind of cool. You got Captain Britain Spider-Man as the leader. It's got a really cool dynamic between all the various spiders. But then we move on to Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, which is very bittersweet for me. It's definitely top of the line book, but I know this is not the direction they're going after Secret Wars, and it like hurts a little bit because this seems like the natural progression of like the '90s Spider-Man I know, like pre the Brand New Day.
Spider-Man is like one of those characters. I mean, people do like Miles Morales, and you can have both him and Peter Parker, around.
It's great, yeah.
But yeah, people really want the Spider-Man and Mary Jane together. Like, that character has been gone. Like, love or hate Dan Slott's run, he hasn't been that guy the whole time, pretty much.
Well, this is him writing that guy, and it's the best that it has ever been outside of Spider-Verse, like, and the Superior Spider-Man stuff that I really like. This seems to be getting back to form, and it's kind of a shame that they're not going that way after Secret Wars. He's basically becoming like Tony Stark. He's going to be a super rich industrialist Spider-Man with a Spider-Mobile. He's kind of like Iron Man and Batman combined. I don't know. I will miss the Spider-Man
character. Like, you can be progressive and move the characters forward without taking them from like the core of who they are.
But that's the thing. This is like the adult Spider-Man that people want. It seems I could see him eventually doing some backpedaling because I imagine a lot of people are going to like Renew Your Vows.
Yeah.
So maybe the fans will be like, fucking do some of this shit again. You don't necessarily have to have them have the Spider-Girl that they birthed, and she has spider powers too. But it's just been a phenomenal book. I can't recommend it enough. That's probably my second to first pick of the week. I probably said that fucked up. Ultimate End has been pretty good. I don't know what else to say about it. It's kind of it's Mark Bagley is probably the main draw of this, just to see him drawing all of the different versions of the Ultimate and 616 universe Marvel characters. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is still a phenomenal book. And this one has like really bombastic fight scenes between the Turtles and Baxter Stockman's now kind of like the Mousers are kind of like drones now. They fly around. There's flybots attacking the Turtles in every venture here. And there's a really sweet scene. Donatello is now in the body of a robot, and all the Turtles have to escape them, and they go into the sewers to swim away, but like Splinter, he can't swim necessarily, he's old. So he turns into like this little boat raft thing all of a sudden, and the Splinter charges away on this thing. It was just cool. Yeah.
Wait, Donatello turns into a boat raft?
Donatello is let me explain this.
Yeah.
Donatello is now in the body of a robot Metalhead from the old cartoons and all that. He's now he's a robot Ninja Turtle. so he's able to turn into a watercraft for Splitter. It was just a cool little sweet moment that I liked. Chrononauts wraps up with a double-sized issue that was super awesome, and they find a way to go back in time and basically undo all the crazy shit they did to make everybody hate them, and they come back to the main timeline as heroes. And it's just a great little 4-issue miniseries. And we got a wrap-up of another series, Archie vs. Predator, which was batshit insane up until the very end. Everybody dies, pretty much, except for Betty and Veronica, and they find a way to bring Archie back to life by putting the Predator's head on him and like using this weird like device that Veronica Lodge's dad had made to make him look like Archie again, but he's really the Predator. It's ridiculous, but that's what makes the comic so great. Then we got Alan Moore's Providence #2, which actually finally ventures into the true horror territory, which some really creepy shit happens, which is very hard to explain how it happens, but the main character like goes into this guy's basement. There's all this weird shit down there. You kind of, the reader is aware of this dialogue that's going on between this old man and this girl, and it's clear that he's like eating children or something, but it's weird stuff, man. Providence is really good. My #3 book, probably Invader Zim #1. It's from the much-loved Nickelodeon series that only lasted a couple of seasons before they shit-canned it, but then still made a whole bunch of money off of the licensing merchandise from Hot Topic and stuff. Maybe people don't like it as much these days, but it is like the cartoon has come to comic book form in proper standard. We have Jonan Vasquez has come back to write the first couple of issues, and then he'll be like kind of an editor after that point. But it's been really good. They brought one of the artists from the series to shepherd it along there. And on to my pick of the week or month, Archie #1 by Mark Waid and Fiona Staples. I was kind of floored by how good it was. Like I wasn't expecting much, but Mark Waid manages to encapsulate everything that's good about the Archie universe in one single issue, and it makes you hungry for more. And I think Fiona Staples is probably the best working artist out there for facial expressions. She just nails every panel here, man.
Yeah, she's great. I really like that. I was surprised by it. So I didn't put them on a pull list, and so it's like, but they had a few still like at the comic shop when I got there. I didn't buy it, but then I actually picked it up. Didn't hit on this. I'll do a brief 1-minute review of. I went on vacation and went to Mile High Comics in Denver, the largest comic store in the country. It's just a warehouse. Like when you go inside, you're like, they should just be like Russians in here, like stripping down cars. Yeah, that's definitely a stereotype. But there you go. Stereotype in every movie ever. So, but it was just a gigantic, awesome comic shop.
Yeah.
And I picked that up there because it had a billion of everything. It was like 2 or 3 weeks after it came out. They had
There's so many covers too.
Yeah, they had like all of them. I almost grabbed the Zdarsky cover because it was really badass, but I didn't.
I went with the David Mack. It's just kind of got a silhouette. Doesn't even look like his normal style. But
I grabbed that.
Really impressive looking.
They had a bunch of really cool comics in there, but of course the highlight was they had an Amazing Fantasy 27.
Yeah.
$6,000. I got within about a foot. There was a case in between.
Amazing Fantasy 15? Or?
Sorry, 15. I just said detective. Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 15's the big.
I almost pulled a fucking Wayne's World. I was like, hey man, like, can I take a look at that? I might buy it, but I didn't think they would believe me. So I saw it behind the case. It was fine, yeah.
Oh, yes.
It was badass. 6.5, not bad. Not bad.
Not bad. Still bad, but not too bad.
Yeah.
Still really good.
Yeah, it's still 6 G's.
It makes it seem like it could be mine.
Yeah, I mean,
totally irresponsible.
They had all the standards. They had like a stack of New Mutants 98s, a stack of the Hulk, the first Wolverine, sitting there. And I was just like, oh, you guys have like 8 of that, you bastard. So I was looking at those, and I looked down in the shelf, and really not much security there either. And it's really in like a kind of sketchy part of town. So I was like, you have a $6,000 comic right here, and you got like 2 fat guys working in the store.
They're actually Russians.
Maybe they are. Maybe they keep the Russian mob back where you can't see them.
They're also ninjas.
But it was badass. I mean, as you can imagine, a warehouse full of fucking comics.
Yeah.
They had like over 1 million comics in there, so it's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, glad you got to go check out a legendary comic book store with the reviews of places and events continue here on Getchyapulls. But for my pulls, let's see, I had a few that, worth mentioning. Flash 42, really dug it. I like this storyline of Barry's dad breaking out of jail and trying to save the day here. But, of course, Barry doesn't understand what he's doing.
He's like, my dad would never do that.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do that.
It's really
He's not
great.
a criminal.
Issue 2 on the Aquaman with Cullen Bunn. Again, I'm still kind of on the fence. He looks like he could be doing something great with this, possibly, but it could easily turn the corner. We haven't gotten to that crucial point yet. I get a lot about Arthur's, a little more about his backstory and kind of the shit that happened between him and Mira that caused him to kind of get outcast to this crazy underworld universe where he's fighting all of these like demonic creatures. But like I said, I'll give Cullen Bunn the first arc on this to see, and if it doesn't wow me, then Aquaman, sadly, after 40 some odd issues in a row that I've had it on my pull list, will probably go in Splitsville. Uncanny X-Men number 35. We're starting to see the characters just wrap up here before the end of Secret Wars. You're seeing some of this issue was mainly about Gold Balls.
Yeah.
Who has become quite the cult hero since debuting on Scott Summers' version of the X-Men team last year. And as a matter of fact, the whole issue is about his catchphrase, Gold Ball. So and he goes on fucking Conan O'Brien and all kinds of other shit. So it's quite amusing. Enjoying where it's going, but you can tell they're just kind of playing around because I don't even know that these characters will exist post Secret Wars.
Yeah, because I don't even know who's writing that one. It's like, what is that Lemire's writing? Is he writing Uncanny? No, he's writing Astonishing?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. He's writing a book. Cullen Bunn's writing a book because Dane has a book and Cullen Bunn's going to take it over eventually. That's just the rule.
Pretty much, yeah. So Sons of Anarchy number 23, very cool story about, is another just one-off that takes place in the midst of continuity of the show. But this is some more backstory on some of the shit that happened with the Irish mob and the IRA that you didn't see on the show. And a little bit of Clay returning because he's not really been in the last few comic book stories. They've kind of taken place after he was out of the picture. So we get some...
That's great. It's moved on. It's crazy. It's supposed to be 6 issues and it's still going.
Yeah, and it's still very good. It blows me away how much I enjoy it every time. Because you think, oh, this is just a cash grab licensing thing, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to milk it. But no, I mean, I'm not familiar with any of these writers from other work, but every time, in the art as well, it just delivers the fucking goods. If you love the show, do yourself a solid and go pick up the Sons of Anarchy comic because they're still going strong. Got my first Nerdblock, which actually included my pick of the week. It was my Father's Day gift from my wife, and the first one finally came in, and I got 3 months of that subscription box. Got a sweet Ant-Man shirt, got a Tony Stark Arc Reactor coaster, got some little promo stuff and stickers, but also got 3 comics. This was I haven't read yet, but it's a Dark Horse pick called Negative Space. It's a space horror type book. Looks kind of cool.
I've heard that was pretty cool.
It's allegedly inspired by aliens and some other shit, that kind of sci-fi horror. So, kind of looking forward to reading that.
Who does it? Who's the team?
Owen Gianni and Ryan K. Lindsay.
Okay, yeah, Ryan K. Lindsay, I know of.
So, I had a busy week at the office, a busy month at the office, actually, so I haven't gotten around to this one yet. But 2 of my other books, one of them almost made the pick of the week. Very good, surprising. Don't know that I'm going to go forward with getting the crossover because it's a 6-issue deal. And I don't know. I'm still skeptical about where it could go, but it's off to a really good start. It takes place in the new Star Trek universe, the Chris Pine, the new movie universe. Yeah. And it starts out with Ganthet getting murdered by, based on the speech bubbles, I think it's Necron, but they try to make it like a mystery. But, it's clearly the speech bubbles are written like the Black Lantern, so it's either Necron or Black Hand. Yeah. One of the two talking to him. But apparently, all the rings fucking attack him. And, apparently in this universe, all the Green Lanterns are dead. And the crew of the USS Enterprise runs into a dimensional rift. and finds the corpse of Ganthet on the moon.
Oh, dang.
And fucking with all the different power rings surrounding him. So, of course, they take him back to the ship, and some fucking shit starts going down. The rings start glowing. They get hailed by some Klingons. And about all this time, the rings start going and finding fucking hosts. So you get some Star Trek Green Lanterns. We get Chang of Kronos, the Klingon, becomes the Yellow Lantern.
Nice.
Chekhov becomes the Blue Lantern.
Fitting.
Uhura becomes the Star Sapphire.
Because she's a girl.
Yeah.
Dr. McCoy becomes the Indigo Tribe. And so they all get possessed by the rings, and then like somebody shows up in the very last panel to say, "Hey, I heard all these rings are going off." So,
Nice.
so very nice setup. Like I'm very tempted to check it. It's so kind of on the
weird
fence.
crossover.
Yeah.
This is so strange, but I'm like, hey.
fitting because they're both in the space realm, so yeah.
All you need is a dimensional rift for a good story, my fellas.
Yeah, that's true.
My pick of the week, Lando #1 by Charlie Soule. Every one of these Star Wars books has been epic. This is no exception. You get to really see Lando out here pirating and scoundreling like you hoped you would. Where he seduces this like female Imperial officer to try to get this fucking trinket away from her. And, like he's feeding her all these lines and she's like, "Oh, baby, I don't love you for your power. It's so fucking awesome." And, he gets the item and he goes to fucking take it to the guy he had not a bounty on him, but he owed a debt to, and he was supposed to clear the debt. And of course, the guy's like a fucking old shiesty gangster, just like Jabba. And he's like, "Yeah, you paid off 1/4 of your debt. Good job." He's like, "Oh, it's worth 10 times my debt." He's like, "Doesn't fucking matter." So, then Lando has to go figure out how he's going to get out of debt. And something tells me it probably involves the Millennium Falcon. And also the Emperor is following him.
Oh.
And he doesn't know this. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was really strong.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the Emperor, he's gonna get there just a little bit before Han Solo does.
Yeah, I think so. Jay, take us home, baby.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I had several, mentions here that were really good. First off, Thor's was good. We get the second issue of that. The plot thickens with their whole side of the battle world. Read the new Superman today. We get the big reveal. We're like, "Oh, Lois figures out he's Superman."
Yeah.
But it was so downplayed. It was kind of like, she was like, "Oh, I'm kind of mad. Let's continue on with the story." It's kind of like
the story.
you'd think we'd get more reaction from it than that. So
That was like one of those things that just had that crazy like outrage when it was announced. Like so many people were like, "Lois would never do that." And it's like, how do you know? It's like 5 issues. It's like 5 months away from when it's going to happen, and maybe she had a good reason to. Like, why are you already mad?
Excuse me. Another few mentions. Dan mentioned that the Flash was really good, and I'll go ahead and get to the chase here, or get to the point. My pick of the week, I was really tied, and I think I'm just now deciding which one I'm going to pick. It's probably
breaking news.
Last minute decision.
Last minute decision.
End of show pick.
It came down to the Star Wars #7 and Old Man Logan. And normally I would pick the Old Man Logan because I've been loving it. I love the character. I love everything they've been doing. But I think at the end, I've been thinking about it the whole show, and I'm going to have to go with Star Wars. I think it was just, it was like all the other books. It was incredibly well written. The art looked great. And we get to take kind of a break from the current storyline in the sense that this issue was based upon Ben Kenobi, Obi-Wan's journal that Luke found, I think, in issue 6?
Yeah.
So really, the whole issue is just a excerpt from that, and it talks about how when Obi-Wan came to Tatooine, after when he first comes there, I guess
After Revenge of the Sith.
yeah. I was trying to sort of remember that. But so he gets there, and a lot of the issue is him kind of talking to himself and trying to come to terms with, okay, you trained your whole life to become a Jedi, and now you have to learn to not be one. And so he's always like witnessing all these like injustices, and he can't like do anything about it.
Man.
And then finally at the end, I'm not going to give a whole lot of spoilers at the end away, but finally at the end, he has to come to the rescue of a child, Luke Skywalker. And it was Luke's actions that said, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not sitting on the back seat. I'm coming back. And that's where they leave it. So we'll see where it goes from there.
It's awesome, yeah. The whole story is basically how hard it is for him to not be the Jedi Obi-Wan because to protect Luke, he can't let the Empire know he's there. Yeah. So every once in a while he kind of breaks, but for the most part he just has to see people being dicks and whatever. And you get to 2, it's awesome because A, you see that him protecting Luke, it's, you find out that's his job the whole time as he's watching over him. And B, you get to see like a young badass Luke Skywalker. Yeah. See Luke and like gets himself into trouble because even as a kid he's got that
smart ass
mouth.
You fucking shooting womp rats.
Yeah, so
these guys are a little worse than womp rats.
Yeah, but it was badass. Yeah, Star Wars continues to be awesome. It could be the best Marvel book, and that's really nice.
Outstanding. Well, that was a great fucking show, guys. Glad to be back on, having everybody back together. It's good to reconvene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really excited. Exciting preview for next week. Sex Criminals didn't come for me. That's funny. Didn't mean to be, but it was. Oh. Pun not intended, but now intended. But the newest issue of Sex Criminals, they all came in bags, and some of them have sweet Chip Zdarsky or Matt Fraction sketches inside. Mine didn't come, so I had to really quick swipe one off of Midtown. Yeah. It's waiting on me next week. Getchyapulls number 109. Oh, nice. We'll have a live reveal. We'll open up the Sex Criminals here and find out, did we get a sketch or did we get fucked?
Live reveal next week.
Live reveal on Getchyapulls.
This has been a production of the Potty Humor Network. Find us online at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe to us weekly and never miss an episode by searching Potty Humor on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you for listening and good night.